And we're gonna watch some
At CitizenCon
60 minutes of Inside Star Citizen.
The first version of a playable Pyro made its debut, allowing citizens for the first time to travel beyond the reaches of the stand system and experience the lawless, chaotic frontier that awaits them just around the proverbial corner.
Very nice,
This
guys.
Pyro Playground then migrated to the newly implemented preview channel, where it opened to players worldwide to experience just a glimpse of what's to come.
That's some nice CCU in Illy.
Because it was a giant milestone in the development of our project that happened entirely while we were all off on our CitizenCon hiatus, and because we have lots of shows in 2024 scheduled to follow up on all those other things you first saw at CitizenCon, here's our look at the Pyro Playground.
Pyro Playground! Who wants some noodles? I
Hey,
remember that.
monsieur, do you want some noodles?
Noodles, who wants noodles?
Hey, do you want some
Noodles!
noodles? Come and enjoy some noodles.
Who wants some noodles?
These are the best noodles ever. No one else has done noodles like this before. Noodles.
Best noodles around, right here.
I don't want any more noodles for as long as I live. Thank you. It's very kind of you to ask. Again and again
Noodles,
and again
Noodles!
noodles.
and again.
Dude, that shit's such a meme. It's such a freaking meme, man. I love it though.
Pyro Playground was really just a snapshot of where we're at in the process. We didn't want to release all of Pyro.
Pizza would be nice.
It was really just Pyro 1, 2, and 3.
We didn't have all of the content or features, but it was a pretty good chunk of it.
It contains a certain subset of locations to go visit, a certain subset of missions that we want players to partake in, and it's just a chance for players to experience a cross-section of where we're at currently with the Pyro system.
It allows us to have a look into the new, unique systems we've built for Pyro. Things like the solar flare. Things that make...
So, as far as the solar flare is concerned, I don't know how many of you guys experienced it, but holy shit was that annoying. Like, it's too often. Personally. For me personally. I got it way too many times. At least 3 or 4 times a day. It drove me absolutely up the goddamn wall.
make Pyro feel more unique to Stanton.
Instead of us always showing players, we wanted players to be able to play it and see what we're seeing and test it out, and then also allow us to get one step closer to an actual release. The Tech Preview channel is a way for us to test out different content or different tech initiatives.
I need the new water so bad.
The idea would be that you're playing
Like, obviously that
whatever's
wasn't
on
the new
live,
water, but,
plus
Quality should be 1080? Hang on. Fuck you. Why does it do that?
this little snippet or shelf
Stop
of
resetting.
content or feature that allows us to try it out and make sure that it works before we take it to larger audiences. A lot of times when we use just the PTU build, there's so many different layers of bugs and issues that we're trying to work through that a lot of times the feature that we're trying to highlight or to really get a lot of feedback on is behind all of these other things. So this allows us to test out just a very, very specific thing. When we put things on the Tech Preview channel, it'll never be permanent. It's really just a way for us to gather information or test things out and see how it's going. And then from there, it will always be pulled down and then folle the proper pipeline, which would be going through PTU environment. Then
Are they?
Being released on live.
Yeah, they are. He's doing a me.
When we've done demos in the past, there is a golden path, but with this, we wanted it to be like a golden sphere.
Yo, Pagan, how you doing?
If you wanted to do cargo or mining or salvaging or racing or piracy, whatever, there was something there for you.
The Pyro Playground gave players an opportunity to get a feel for several planets, Pyro 1, 2, and 3.
They do have lore names. Bloom, which is Pyro 3, and Monox, which is Pyro 2. And Pyro 1 itself doesn't have an official name because it's such a barren wasteland.
Yes, sir.
So there's never really been any mining or industrial, commercial enterprises on it.
This is the day.
Pyro is a lawless system, so therefore, at its heart, we've got some big differentiating factors, like Stanton should feel almost like a business park because of all the different corporations that it has there, versus Pyro should just feel completely lawless.
How did you miss out on Destroy Servers? That was like one of the most common front ones you could do. Either go destroy servers or go destroy a bunch of resources in storage containers. Which, that one was easy. You just do a little flyby with your ship and just blow everything up. It's nice.
I really enjoy that feeling that we are in a system that is completely different from Stanton.
Oh, wow.
You feel less
Wow, the guy's aim
protected,
is so
you
good.
feel more vulnerable. It becomes much more about careful planning.
that guy was panicking so hard. Like, every shot was like all around. The only thing that was actually hitting was because of the random placement of bullets. Like, the guy was doing literally an outline of that NPC.
But there's also that freedom there as well, so you're free of consequences for a lot of your actions. So it becomes more of a free-for-all playground, and I think as time moves on, you'll see certain people gravitate towards that and certain people move away from it.
In the noodle area. Who wants some noodles?
The interiors of the Pyro station were designed with modularity in mind, which means each rooms can be separately transformed into either a rundown or an abandoned state. So this gives like more opportunity for gameplays and new atmospheres for the players.
Just having a new skybox, just having a new starfield, just having new colorscapes for the spacescaping, etc., I think is really refreshing to see.
From a content standpoint, we can take a lot of the
Fury's
stuff that
such
we've
an
done
enjoyable
on Stanton
fighter.
already and
Horrible
actually
racer, but
adjust
enjoyable
it and
fighter.
get it ready for Pyro pretty quickly, just because we've already built the foundation of it.
So a lot of it was a little bit more
Yay!
about sightseeing
Right?
the locations. There's still a lot of mission and like interactability content to put into the locations, but there were certainly missions to be done, missions that would drive the player to them.
So the player could mine, they could salvage, they could do cargo runs, they could
I
do
liked it
delivery,
before
they
I
could
figured
do
out how to fly it
all
off
sorts of
the
different
plane.
missions. Go and kill an Idris. You could go and
It's a
do a
pain in
bombing
the ass
run
to fly
on
optimally.
an outpost.
There was a couple of new missions.
You have to
such
fly
as
like
destroy the
this
fuel
to
tank
get as much
mission.
speed as
Its
possible.
actual name is fuel to
You-
the fire.
you don't fly
This
straight.
is you destroying
fly
these
like
massive
this.
gas cylinders that you can
You
do
look
with
down
ship
about
weapons or by dropping
30
a bomb.
degrees,
And destroy
and
the
you push
server
forward
mission,
and you push
which
down
are
at the
two
same
sort of parts
time.
of a similar
That's how
mission
you get
type,
optimal
but
speed.
offer very
Push up,
different
sorry.
experiences.
These were all just different things we wanted the players to be able to experience and, again, make things feel different than what it does in Stanton.
Oh, his aim is so painful. Why is his aim so painful?
While I was involved in the development, you only get involved in certain aspects, so you don't see it all as a whole. So when we did internal playthroughs and I hopped on with some members of my team, we decided
in a
we were going to
nutshell,
play
I
one
mean-
of the missions that we hadn't played. The mission was amazing, it was very atmospheric. The AI were reactive, we barely got out alive. And then we had this warning of a solar flare, and we didn't know what this was, so we was like, oh, this is cool. So we stood on the ground and stared at the sun, wondering what it was, because I believed, and I had told my team, that it was more of an EMP, completely forgetting that it's more of a deadly dose of radiation. When the solar flare happened, everybody on my team fell to the floor, instantly dying with an intense hit of radiation. And it was an amazing experience.
It affects the players in various
Yo,
ways.
Poshi, how you
We're
doing?
hoping probably to do some changes to that with how it affects the AI as well, and how that
Cinematic
will
gaming,
affect the
got it.
player in general, what they have to do to protect themselves.
The solar flare on the floor was tuned up a little bit more just because we wanted everybody to experience it at least once. In the future, we'll do adjustments so that it's not quite as annoying as it currently is.
Okay, that we touched on earlier. I'm so grateful that they are tuning it a little bit so it's not quite so often. That was my big concern with Pyro. Like, are they really going to hit me with one of these every 2 damn hours? Like, it was so rough. It was so rough after getting hit with those so often. I'm really grateful they touched on that. That makes me very, very happy.
One of the cool things that we got to experiment with Pyro, we basically taking consumables and props to the next level. As a team, Interactables took charge of creating all the new food items that you've seen. Basically, we had to reinvent the way props have always been done. We've had to create kind of a new style, which is...
Hold on, let me go back a second here. I missed these. I did not see these. Could you actually pick those up and eat like just a gelatin cube? Is that what that is? Is that Soylent Green? What is that? Fuck.
We had to reinvent the way props have always been done. We've had to create kind of a new style, which is the improvised style. Because everything in Pyro is,
didn't even see them.
You know, scrap, it's trash, it's things that have been repurposed. We didn't have any of that stuff, so we had to do a lot of development, had to do a lot of
nutrition
prototyping,
cubes.
A lot of work,
Made from
made
what?
A lot of kits, so it's all brand new
Made
stuff
from what?
that we've had to create to fit this new aesthetic. One of the things we thought would be really, really amazing to do was harvestables, consumables that actually move. So originally we created the stone bug, which was like a small kind of experiment on a creature that animates, you know. But we wanted to take it to the next level and create something disgusting. We basically created a bunch of grubs that you can eat, and also, yeah, you can find these grubs, you know, around in the vents and stuff.
If you run around Checkmate Station or any of the stations, you can actually find them kind of flopping by vents.
Next time you're going around Pyro and looking in some vents and stuff, yeah, you might find some tasty sustenance. Just watching people do food reviews about grubs is awesome.
Delicious.
Now they'll be able to experience like new mission gameplay and new locations like planet, outposts,
that's fucking
or
grody.
even Pyro stations.
Dude, I ate so
when
many
a player
of those
just
when I
travels
was
to
playing.
this location, it can be
I was
seen
all about the
from
grubs.
up close, but as well from afar. So yeah, every details really counts, like decals, textures, or even geometry. So we had to make sure that there was a visual consistency. It was kind of a challenge because it was kind of a large-scale station, and we had to make sure like every details really matters. You can access the station through multiple locations, so it depends for where you come. But some areas can be completely like in a rundown state, and some others can be like completely abandoned.
These are stations that are decommissioned. These are stations that are, you know, run down and broken. You know, the atmospheric controls don't work. You know, the trash compactors and the janitorial stuff. None of that's going to be working, so we needed to really kind of demo and show that off, right?
To really like make the stations in Pyro really shine and be completely the opposite of Stanton, we implemented like new parts, like the damaged parts that you can see on the exterior, and they are fulfilled with a lot of asteroids and debris all around.
The Pyro gangs are not going to be worrying about where the trash is going. They're just going to be shoving it in a corner and it being done with, so a lot of the
See, I'm sure they might explain it here in a minute, but I always found that really weird. Like, okay, I own this station. I'm a gang leader. I have all these minions below me. Why the hell am I not making at least one of them pick up some trash? Why am I not doing this? Why am I not repairing the station? I'm a gang leader. In theory, my illicit activities have made me enough money that I can hire a freaking janitor. It costs money to put freaking trash in space. You just toss it out the airlock. You take a quick trip to the sun. You do something. I don't know. I found it weird. This is my same grievance I have with the Reclaimer. I want something that is clean looking. Why pay a janitor when you could? Because you got to live there yourself, or at least visit on occasion, right? I don't know. Like I said, I just find it weird. I find it bizarre. I find it somewhat unusual that a gang leader would be like, "I want to live in this fucking film."
props exploration with trash was building massive trash bags and enabling the environment artists to then go and place them and create these massive like trash piles in the corners of stations, which is really awesome.
With the rundown environments, you'll...
Now that said, it does look cool. It does give it its own feel. But it feels like everybody here is poor. Like, too poor. I don't know. I don't freaking know. I know it's got to cost money to run this stuff, but you would think they would have the materials.
I feel like everything is completely destroyed, falling apart, but still kind of occupied by the AIs. Rather than in the abandoned, there's like less movements. It's just like a space for you to make discoveries and explore the stations.
Players.
I keep pausing, but then again, I go and think about it. This is based off of like early 80s, 90s sci-fi, right? And you go and think about those movies. And you have these amazing utopian areas, and there's almost always some shitty area. You got Total Recall, where you got the shitty area, the slums of Mars, or what have you. So I guess it makes sense. I guess I'm just thinking about what I personally would want, and it's not the way I should be thinking about it.
Players were able to explore the space stations, explore all
And
the
Illy, yeah, I
alternative
agree with
pathing
that. Making
within the
fire in a
space
place where
stations,
oxygen
but
is not smart.
all the derelict outposts,
Or
solve
low
some of
oxygen.
the puzzles, have combat in the outposts as well.
But you gotta heat it
So
somehow.
yeah, you can really feel this sense of danger coming from Pyro.
It's not we're building a tech preview or anything like that. We're just building Pyro. And so everything that you're experiencing on the tech preview channel is what Pyro will become. There might be slight modifications from there, but the outposts where they're placed, the space stations where they're placed, what encompasses all of those stations and content is what Pyro will be. All
I'm gonna hide
did
SE
was
real
we
quick.
just held back 4, 5, and 6, and it really was just making sure that it feels like our live product.
Watching it unfold.
For all of SitCon and Pyro Preview Channel, like I think the reaction has been pretty positive. I think having them be on the floor and being able to play it, at least for me, that was one of the highlights.
For us, after putting in many months of work, it was really good to get that sense of
So I don't know about you guys. But this is something I always wished when I was a kid. Growing up with Privateer. If, like, I could have just, like, played Privateer next to my brother. Or even my dad at the time. I thought that would have been so freaking cool, man. I think that's why I like this game so much. Is... Though I'm not going to get that vibe, I'm not going to ever go to a LAN center that's got 100 computers set up with this game. At very least, I kind of have this now, you know, like we got it online, which is super cool. But that I wish I could have gone to do.
validation.
Actually, hold on. Let me catch up with chat here real quick. Let's see. Okay, but like, when do we get it? 4 years. Realistically, it could be Q2 or Q3, 2024. I was hearing Q2. Sounds about right. You had Free Space 2 LAN parties back in the day. Good shit. Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. I wish I'd been able to convince my friends to play that game. Such a good game.
It's really, really heartening to see how positively everything was received. I mean, particularly with the outposts, we wanted to give an entirely new experience, so it's always gratifying to see people playing our content.
I know our team specifically, like, we've been working really, really hard to bring these new interactive items, and lots of people have been posting and talking about it, which makes us super, super happy. We're always sharing the clips around, and just motivates us to want to continue and do even more cool stuff. To see people play it and
I'll have to check that out.
have a lot of fun, experience the new missions, experience the new content. When we build our modular systems, like the Eliminate All mission where you're just sent there to kill 10 people, Pyro
God, he
has
was
a
able
nice
to aim
way of
that
adding
round.
a new spin
Nice.
onto it that makes people feel refreshed.
The implementation of Pyro system is going to make Star Citizen grow as a game and finally open the gates to new possibilities in terms of gameplay.
Looking ahead.
So what happens going forward is that we'll continue to harden and continue to get ready for the actual real release of Pyro and get all of the content in and make sure that it's working with all of the different AI aspects or systems that are coming online and do more tuning passes. And then there's the actual technical aspects of getting server meshing ready and in order to make sure that it's the best experience when we actually do the full release of 4.0.
A lot of the things that we know we still have to work on is performance, particularly optimization and performance for the locations. There's a lot of content streaming in and out all at once, particularly at ship speeds when you fly super fast over an outpost. And we're really, really wanting to expand the AI experience within each outpost so that it's more of a fuller seeming. People are doing logical things in these outposts, and it's not just lots of people wandering around.
With Pyro being an unlawful system, a lot of people have been experiencing spawn camping, ganking, however you want to phrase it. It's not fun, but it is a part of being in an unlawful system. There are a few sort of key puzzle pieces we are missing to sort of have the intended experience there, which are, we need AI to be there, and we need them to be reactive so they can see what you're doing and be able to help the players who are just trying to get out. We also need reputation.
Reputation really matters. You don't have the UEE doing any kind of patrols.
If someone is...
All right, so I agree with that to an extent. I do agree with that to an extent. I think it was taken a bit too far in some cases. But overall, I mean, it's not that hard to get out of, right? And once we have reactive AI, once we have reactive defenses and reputation, that's not really going to be a problem anymore. Because, okay, I go and start attacking players in every part of that system. Faction be damned. Every faction is going to hate me. I'm not going to be able to land anywhere. And I don't know if you've ever dealt with AI when it's got a good actual FPS on the servers, but they're freaking deadly, man. They will mess you up. So, I mean, I think it's part of the intended experience. However, it's just not ready yet.
Sat there ganking people coming out, it get to the point where Rough and Ready are that sick in you, you're not allowed at their stations anymore. You're not allowed to refuel there, land there, rearm. You go anywhere near it and they will shoot you down.
You can...
Yeah, exactly, Illy. Right, like right now, if you go to SOO, even though the servers aren't working that well, I still was getting beamed across the map by AI. Like, they were absolutely deadly. Absolutely deadly. As far as events are concerned, I consider it the best event. But then again, the other events are generally horrible. Like, they're just laggy messes. Anyway, back to this. Sorry.
Gain and lose reputation with the gangs, and they own various locations.
Are you going to be able to go to this station because you've destroyed an entire settlement where Rough and Ready work? You know, you kill this person. How's that going to affect your long-term reputation?
What you do really impacts where you can go.
7 months to make it?
People's
Oh,
response
shit.
to you.
Wait. Are you a dev? And I need to look into who the devs actually are because I feel bad now. Fantastic. Oh! Right on, dude. Right on. Fantastic. Now I know. Yeah, SOO is definitely one of my favorites. I'm going to finish this real quick, and I can touch on that more in a little bit.
These kind of things will not stop that gameplay, but will heavily discourage it.
Basically, the goal is that it does feel like a lawless experience compared to Stanton.
So what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that the preview channel is a great new way to do smaller, more curated experiences that don't require the entire persistent universe builds of the PTU leading to a direct release. That the playground allowed players to experience a slice of extra legal life in the actual Pyro system. And that the results of this test are being used now to inform the direction of your next Pyro experience. So for Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for letting us share the process of game development with you, and we'll see you all here next week.
Beautiful. All right, that was a decent ISC. Like, I'm pretty happy with that one.